Alright, this is it. This is our last day here in Norway. We are on our way to Oslo now. I asked you to send me some questions and you did, so I'm gonna be also answering those and trying to take some photos in the capital of this beautiful country where I spent the last, I don't know, 3.5 months. The train is coming in 3 minutes. This is the Oslo Central Station, and that is a tower thing, I guess. We have no plans for today, just walk around and see the city and have a coffee, have some food. So all the Christmas decorations are up. Today is Friday, December the 2nd. And as I was saying, this is our last day here. Rachel is leaving tomorrow. She's flying to the US from here. I am going to the US too, but I still have to drive the car back to Spain first and then fly from there. So it's gonna take me a while to get there. So Rach, you've been here for a month. How do you like Norway?
Beautiful.
Beautiful? Mm-hmm. What do you like the most?
The fjords. Oslo's fine. It's a big city. But where we were before was gorgeous. Like,
yes, it was.
Just ridiculously beautiful.
Ferris wheel. Yeah, I'm very glad that she got to join me here for a month because she got to see some of the things that I had been seeing for a while. I was here, as I said, for 3.5 months, more or less. But it's about time to go back home and see our families and friends, and to be on your own bed for a while.
Survive when time's been bad. You put smiles on everyone. I think of you and of all that you have done. So this is the royal palace because Norway has a king. It's one of those countries like Spain that still have that kind of stuff. But anyway, so that is something that I wanted to talk about the trip and how I was able to be here for so long. This is a question that I got this time and that I get all the time, how I'm able to afford being in all those places, in all these places for so long. So I believe that the currency that we photographers lack the most is not necessarily money, but time. That's why 5.5 years ago, I think already, I decided to become a full-time photographer to actually have the time to do these kind of things. When it comes to money, well, I think that there is always a way, we can always find a way to do it. For example, this time in Norway, I traveled and with my car, and I slept in my car most of the time. That saved me a lot of time. Of course, it's more uncomfortable, but yeah, it's what allowed me to be here for 3 months. I love road trips. I love traveling that way because it gives me a lot of freedom and flexibility, but also because it's much cheaper. I've done it many times in the past, not just here in Norway, but back in the US for a month or 2 months out west. And it's an amazing way to travel and to see things, and it's an amazing way to do photography. But of course, it's not for everyone. For those who do not have a car or do not like to do that or don't have the time, it is much easier to just go somewhere by train, by plane, spend a week in that location and try to make it as cheap and affordable as possible. We've done this in the past as well when we went to Madeira or when I went to Castilla-La Mancha to photograph the windmills. But this is about traveling. I do travel quite a lot, as you can see, but I also try to do a lot of local photography. I go out almost every day to do photography, no matter where I am, and that, of course, it is much cheaper than being in Norway, Sweden, or any other country. even now that we are staying here in Oslo, the whole thing is not costing us a lot of money. We are staying out of the city, as you saw, and the B&B that we are at, I think it comes out at $50 per night, and because we don't have a place, we are not renting a place or paying a mortgage, that is what it's costing us. We don't have any other expenses. That is a big factor as well. I also try not to go out. Almost every day I eat at home, or I just go to the grocery store. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't drink coffee out either. As usual, it's a compromise in order to get this kind of stuff, this trip across Norway for 3 months. Well, I have to sacrifice other things. I've seen quite a few of these during my trip here in Norway. The weather here is amazing and it makes for very dramatic scenes, including rainbows. And now that we're talking about rainbows, another question I got is what books I read. And the book that I'm reading, well, not reading, I'm listening to this book during my trips, during my when I drive, is one by Neil Gaiman, called The Norse Mythology, and they talk about rainbows there. Rainbows are part of the mythology because they are the bridges that connect the different worlds, and it's the bridges that the gods use, including Thor and Odin. Well, Rachel told me that I mispronounced a few words, like I said mythology is mythology, and I said, instead of Odin, I said something different. I meant Odin. So the last book I read was The Meaning in the Making by Sean Tucker. So this is a photography book. I don't usually read photography books, but this book I do recommend. Another book that I just read recently as well was Red Notice by Bill Browder. That was a crazy story and a book that I enjoyed as well. Then I have The Snowball, that is the biography of Warren Buffett. I couldn't finish that one. I like biographies quite a lot, but I know this one didn't really connect with me. Memoir? Mm-hmm. Okay. Called Instrumental, and it's the memoir of James Rhodes. That was a pretty crazy story, and it's a pretty shocking book, but I liked as well. Then I have a couple of self-help books like The Long Game by Dory Clark and Put Your Ass Where Your Heart Wants to Be by Stephen Pressfield. They're okay. They are quick reads anyway, and they can have some tips that you can use there. But in general, I like to read books about philosophy. The next one on my list is Ryan Holiday's Discipline is Destiny, even though I don't put into practice many of the ideas that they have, but I like that kind of books. I don't read many books about photography, as I said. I prefer to find inspiration somewhere else. And Rachel here reads, or used to read much more than me, but she reads mostly fiction, I think.
Yeah.
She doesn't really like
nonfiction.
Maybe you should. A favorite book that you've read in the last few years? Like you told me about the Gods.
Oh, the Gunslinger
trilogy.
Stephen King. Yeah, that was wild. It's a lot of books.
Yeah, a lot of
but
a lot of words.
I did enjoy it. It's really intense.
Look at that. It's an advent calendar on a building. It's an advent building.
Yes.
It took a while, but it's finally cold. I think we are at around 0 degrees today, 32 in Fahrenheit. But we didn't have any snow at all during the whole trip. So I guess we put winter tires in the car just in case, but I think it was unnecessary. I guess it's better to be safe than sorry, but yeah.
That means please order at the bar. Please order at the bar.
Okay, bring me the next question.
So, 2 people
True.
are wondering your favorite spot in Sweden.
So sadly, I didn't have much time in Sweden. I think I was there only for like 3 or 4 days. Beautiful country, but one thing that I want to note is that I was there for 4 days and I got 2 flat tires. So bad luck, but that happened. That being said, I think that those 4 days made very clear why there are so many Scandinavians in the upper Midwest like Minnesota and Michigan, because the landscapes remind me a lot of those states. There is a lot of trees, a lot of lakes. It's mostly flat, it's beautiful. But yeah, as I said, I didn't have much time. I really liked driving through the Lapland because I think that was the place in Europe that I felt most isolated. It reminded me a little bit of the feelings that you can have in some parts of the west of the United States when you know that you are very far away from everything. So the Lapland is definitely a favorite of mine. When it comes to photography, that bridge that I found on my way up north, I don't remember the name, but I'll put it here. That was a pretty cool spot.
Next question. Okay, so how do you decide where to travel? Is it motivated by what you want to photograph?
It very much is. It didn't used to be this way, but now I travel to places where I think or I believe. Why are you laughing? Yes, I do travel to places that I think are going to be more favorable for my photography, but also because I consider photography not just the goal, but a tool to discover places. And it's through photography that I got to rediscover my hometown. For example, I love getting out in the fog now. I didn't used to like that, and that's what I try to do when I travel as well. Use the camera to actually push myself out there and try to see different things that I couldn't see otherwise. So yeah, I do travel to places because of photography, and then I see them better. I discover more things because or thanks to photography. It's somewhat funny, somewhat disturbing.
When will you come to visit me in Lake Tahoe?
Probably not anytime soon. I was there just 2 years ago, not even 2 years ago, and now I'm more focused on traveling around Europe than around the US, even though I spent some time there and I do like traveling over there, but you know, big road trips through the West, that is gonna have to wait a little bit longer. What is the next adventure? I have plenty of ideas for next year, don't I? So as I said, I'm going back to the US very soon. We are going back to the US. We're gonna be in the Midwest for the next 3 months or so. I very much look forward to that, to spending the winter there, photographing the snowy landscapes. I am thinking about maybe going on a really quick road trip to South Dakota, to the Badlands. That'd be amazing. By the end of next year, I really want to do a road trip across Italy. It's a country that I still want to photograph. There are many beautiful spots that I don't know there. I'm also planning on riding my bike around the coast of Galicia. It's gonna take me like a month or so, but all these things are subject to change, of course. I wanted to do this last year and I didn't end up doing it, but hopefully it happens this year. I also want to run a marathon for the first time. That is gonna require a lot of training, so we'll see. And I'm also hoping to do some backpacking or serious hiking in the Alps and some mountains in Spain. So a lot of plans, but nothing for sure. But as you can see, I have a lot of ideas, and I hope I can do most of them. I think that Rachel has a question of her own, don't you?
Yeah. You're always just okay with being uncomfortable, and I'm freezing and I don't want to be outside anymore, and you can be out here for hours and I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, she made a face when I mentioned that I might go to South Dakota in the winter, and yeah,
No, I was in pain.
She was in pain. Well, okay. Yeah, I understand. I know. I'm cold too, but I guess I just forget about it and look at the things around us, and you know, I just take photos. And I know that it's not comfortable. I forget about it, and it stops hurting if you don't think about it. And I guess the photography, the motivation to photograph takes over that. I guess that when you like doing something, you just do it no matter what. It's all I can say.
Sorry, my face is completely frozen. I can barely move it. What do you want? The next question?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Here it says
It's
I know. Two people want to know why.
Why?
Why?
That's a very deep question. I guess they are asking why I do photography or why I travel. I don't know. But the answer is all the same, I guess, is why not? I like to travel, I like to photograph, and I like to do the things that I do because they bring me joy and because I discover what it's out there, the world, and what's beautiful about it. I know.
Okay.
Shoot me another one. That's a fortress. I don't know the name, but it looks pretty cool. Anyway, next question is, do you save all your photos? No, I do not. I take a lot of photos. I always say this, probably hundreds of photos a day if the day is a good one for my photography. But during the last few months, I've been taking thousands of photos every month. I delete most of them. When I say most of them, it's probably 98 to 99%. One thing that I've been doing this year, that I started doing this year and that I'm sharing on my Patreon page, you'll find the link in the description down below, is I'm doing some contact sheets. So I export all the photos I take, I put them in a PDF, and at the end of the year I might just print it out as a book or something like that. And I think that Rachel can't hold the camera any longer, so that's it. Another question that I get very often, and I got 2 or 3 this time around as well, is about color photography. Is I do color photography at all, or why not? And if I could see myself getting rid of my style, black and white, and shooting color. And the answer is no and no. I do not do any color photography other than just the snapshots with my phone to share with friends, family, or to post stories on Instagram. All the color work that I do is with videos, and that's about it. All my photography is in black and white. The reason why I don't, and why I don't see myself switching to color photography in the future, is that for me there are 2 totally different things. With black and white, it's like I said it many times, there is a layer of abstraction that I can put over reality, so it lets me create the stuff instead of capturing. To me, that is totally 2 different approaches to photography, and it would be more to me that question sounds like, are you gonna get rid of, or are you gonna give up photography and start writing, for example? They are that different for me.
Okay, what are your favorite spots in Norway?
Glad you asked. That's a very good question. And by the way, that's the opera house in the background. So when it comes to favorite spots in Norway, I don't have, well, I do have one, I'm lying. But the thing about Norway that I didn't fully understand until I got here is that the whole country is absolutely beautiful. Not so much here in the southeastern part where all the people live, because it's a little bit flatter and it's not that dramatic as other places, but all of western Norway, all of the coast, and all the places in the north are pretty beautiful. But I do have one spot, and that is the hike at Rein. It's one of the last towns in the Lofoten Islands. I have a video from this location, so you can go check it out. But the view from up there, I don't remember the name, I'll put it here, was one of the best views I've ever seen. So pretty cool. My favorite spot in Norway, for sure.
With beating hearts, we're still alive. Comes a time when all you have is who you love.
My nose. They're red. They're red.
In the cold?
Yeah.
It don't mean a thing what shape or form that you're in. The place you're from, the wealth or the color of your skin. When all you had burns to the sky, it's all too late, and you wonder why. When really are.
kind of cool. You can walk on the roof of the opera house. How are you doing over there?
Very cool.
It's very cold and cold. Yeah. One thing I'm very disappointed about, and I was hoping to find here in Oslo, but I haven't so far, is roasted chestnuts on the streets. I thought that was a common thing in Europe. I've had them almost everywhere, but not here. And that is very disappointing because I was really craving them. Talking about food, it's lunchtime now, so we're gonna grab something really quick and then probably just go back to the B&B because Rachel here has to work and there is not much daylight left anyway, so. That was pretty good, pretty expensive, but pretty
so
good.
Very expensive.
She really enjoyed that. She was very cold, but food has this effect on her. It doesn't to me, sadly, but
Yes, it does.
no.
On healthy food, you get very excited. and you enjoy it.
No. But my mood doesn't go up like yours does. Like, no, it's okay. I feel good now, but that's it.
Every day is a struggle in the stride.
Just kidding.
Don't you
I'm drunk on happiness because I just ate a delicious burger.
comes a time when all you have is who you love.
All right, we are almost back to the Airbnb. We went to the grocery store. I had to get some food because, as I said, I'm leaving tomorrow at 4 in the morning. I'm catching the first ferry to Denmark. I think it leaves at 8, so I have to be there very early. And I'm gonna be just driving basically non-stop for the next few days, and it is a weekend and grocery stores around here are usually closed on Sundays, so I'm just making sure that I'll have enough food for at least a couple days. It is cold out there. I got a question from someone who just moved to Germany from Brazil, and this is gonna be their first winter there. They wanted to know if I have any tips, and unfortunately I don't. In winter, all I do is just wear a lot of clothes. I think that wearing layers is very important. So definitely don't be afraid of wearing 2 sweaters or 2 or 3 t-shirts, so you can regulate yourself out there. You can take some clothes off and or put more on. Anyway, I have a couple more questions that I wanted to answer before finishing the video. Will you be willing to give workshops or master classes regarding editing or composition? Yes, absolutely. This is something that I want to do in the future. I still have to figure it out how I want to do it, because I don't know if I want to record videos and upload them. I don't know if I want to do one-on-ones online, or if I just want to do the more traditional, in-person workshops. 2 questions about film. This is something that people are very passionate about, because I haven't shot film in years, and they are asking if I have given up on film. If I had to choose analog or digital, one has to go. Which one? Well, as you might suspect by now, I am a digital photographer right now. I have embraced digital for everything. I enjoy my time shooting film.
But you know, it wasn't because it was film itself. It's not that I like film for the fact of being film. What I liked the most about shooting the Bronica was the experience of actually shooting that camera. So if I could have a digital back that I could use instead of film, I'd be shooting that camera right now. The reason why I don't shoot it with traditional film is because of the cost and the, some people say inconvenience. It's not an inconvenience, it's just a lot of work. You see, when I'm out in the field, I have a lot of things to worry about. I record videos and I like to film my time out there and to share it with all of you. And shooting film would make that much harder and much more challenging. This is a team of one. It is me alone who is out there flying drones, driving, recording, and taking the photos. And yeah, the digital makes this whole thing just a little bit easier, and of course cheaper as well, more affordable. I shoot a lot. I like to shoot a lot. That is my process. That's the way I like to work. It keeps me engaged. If I had to shoot on film, it would be very costly and I wouldn't be able to shoot as much, and my photography wouldn't be the same as it is right now. Again, film was awesome when I did it, but it had its time and its place. Now I moved on to this, but who knows in the future? I still have the Bronica in the US, in Indiana, and I might take it out a couple times this winter. And that was it. That was most of your questions. Thank you so much for sending them to me. I did this on Instagram, so if you are not there or you don't follow me there, you can leave your questions if you have any about me or my photography down below in the comments, and I can do a part 2 on my way back to Spain. I guess this is it. This is a goodbye from Norway. Next time we talk, I'll be, I don't know, Denmark, Germany, somewhere around there, and she'll be in the US. She leaves tomorrow. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.